earlier, right?
Yep, he's playing Junk Aristocrats. He's added Desecration Demon to his Junk Aristocrats.
Which is actually a throwback to the block Junk Aristocrats deck, which used Desecration Demon to great effect. Particularly since it's so good with Valoras. And then his opponent, Alan Lee, is playing stock Jund.
All right, yeah, so that yeah, so that block deck, what is it? It was more on the Varol's Desecration Demon and I think Deadbridge Goliath sort of plan.
Yeah.
This one's still playing the Demon, but otherwise playing it in that Aristocrats shell here with Blood Artist and Cartel Aristocrat.
Yeah, basically, instead of Zathrid and Necromancer, he has Desecration Demon for bigger, harder beats.
All right, so they are in game 3 right now. Crawley has assembled a pretty decent board. He has that Desecration Demon right now hitting pretty hard, but on top of that, he has his engine going of Cartel Aristocrat, a Spirit Token, and now Skursdog High Priest that he's added to the board.
Yeah, Skursdog High Priest, very good with Desecration Demon from getting the triggers, but also just fantastic with any of your own sack outlets like Cartel Aristocrat.
Yeah, so Alan's gonna be in this really awkward position when if the Desecration Demon attacks, he can sack a creature to it, but he doesn't really want to, so if he doesn't, then Jeremy just gets a 5/5 flyer.
Well, he's going to get the 5/5 flyer either way because he can sack a creature to the Cartel Aristocrat and upgrade it. You know, like Shorty let me upgrade you style. Lifebane Zombie and Huntmaster the Fells. Usually a pretty respectable board against creature decks, but these Junk Aristocrat decks hitting from very different angles with just giant bodies, which, black creatures so that the 3/1 Intimidate is not unblockable. Creatures that are not easily Huntmastered. The Skursdog High Priest could be Huntmastered if it comes to that, but Jeremy seems to consistently have cards to play to make sure that it has to flip.
Yeah, so
Alan doesn't flip.
Yeah, so Alan has a choice here. He has a Dread board, looks like in his hand, but it seems uncertain if he wants to cast that as opposed to flipping the Huntmaster. Once again, as you said before, Desecration Demon has just really become a player in Standard. I think in response to Jund to a certain degree, it's really large.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen this kind of thing before. I mean, Abyssal Persecutor was definitely decent against some previous mid-range decks, particularly the ones that want to do 3 damage.
Yeah.
2 or 3 damage to their creatures.
Yeah, these 4-mana 6/6 flyers with a drawback still very good.
Absolutely.
So it looks like we're going to see another Lifebane Zombie out of Alan. He had an Olivia and a Dreadbore. He opts to go this route. He sees Tragic Slip, Cartel Aristocrat, and Tragic Slip.
So 2 Tragic Slips. Interesting.
That's a lot of removal. By taking the Cartel Aristocrat, Jeremy doesn't
have...
have...
to.
Yeah. But by taking it, Jeremy didn't have, he loses that extra creature to swing with the Demon and activate Skursdog High Priest. It's not going to matter here, though, as Alan chooses to Dreadbore the High Priest.
So, at this point, Alan's got the board down to a spot where there's really only one thing that's beating him. The bad news is, it will beat him next turn if he doesn't solve it. The Demon hitting just so hard.
So I think Jeremy recognizes this. He's going to go ahead and send the team. That's 7 in the air, which Alan can't block, so he will be dropping to 5. Question is if he wants to attempt to trade with Cartel Aristocrat.
Why not?
I think, he knows if that trade happens, Jeremy will be able to double Tragic Slip. If he wants to, he can kill one or both of Alan's creatures.
Yeah, but why not? Who cares? The Tragic Slip's going to kill 2 creatures anyway. And the Cartel Aristocrat might as well trade with a creature.
Right.
It's not like this Huntmaster's ever flipping against somebody with 2 Tragic Slips. You can't afford to take that kind of damage, because if he takes all 9, he'll be at 3, and then even if he answers the Demon, he's just dead next turn to any creature.
And yeah, Cartel Aristocrat suddenly will become really scary.
Yeah. Not any creature, I guess. Well, no, any creature, because he's got 2 Tragic Slips in hand.
Yeah, it's unlikely Alan will be able to keep a flying blocker up. So we see... Yeah, Alan deciding on blocks here. It's really going to be about how much damage Jeremy can sneak across here. Jeremy's really fortunate that the Dreadbore went at Skursdog High Priest instead of at Desecration Demon. So Alan's going to have to find another answer to the 6/6 flyer.
Well, if he had targeted the Demon, then he would have to both deal with the Skursdog High Priest and a 5/5 each turn. So I think his hand, his hand was kind of forced.
Well, to be fair, if he kills the Demon, Jeremy can't make a 5/5 flyer unless he draws a creature. So they'd only have 3 creatures on the board. If he sacks one, then he can't tap 3 things.
He has Tragic Slip.
Okay, so he... Oh, right, because there's the X ones. Right, so you can Tragic Slip the... You're right, you can Tragic Slip Lifebane Zombie, make a 5/5.
Right, so and that's what I'm saying.
His hand was forced. Yeah, he just had to kill
he
the
can
High
do this
Priest.
anyway. He can just go Lifebane... He could Tragic Slip a Lifebane Zombie, Tragic Slip Huntmaster if he wanted. I mean, he's not short on... Wow, Alan decides to take it, though.
He takes all of the damage.
And now he looks like he has nothing but land.
Yep, and then Jeremy, post-combat, casts a Tragic Slip on a Lifebane zombie to stop that Huntmaster from flipping. It does look like Alan has an Olivia Voldaren, but...
Interesting. That's actually a pretty big game. Unfortunately, Jeremy still has a Tragic Slip.
Yeah, you can sack the Spirit, Tragic Slip. Yeah, Alan's still in a really rough spot.
Now, Olivia does at least kill the Spirit and make it so that Alan doesn't die on board. Lives one more turn.
To be fair, though, if he kills the Spirit, that just turns on... I mean, the Spirit's going to die anyway, so that Tragic Slip can kill the Olivia, right?
I suppose that's fair. I think it's irrelevant. I think it's just the Spirit is going to die. It doesn't matter if it dies from being sacked or not. Right. It's just, it's going to die, and so is the Olivia.
Right.
And then the Cartel Aristocrat is threatening to be, the Cartel Aristocrat combined with Desecration Demon puts Alan Lee on a very, very short clock.
So there's the Olivia. It tries to shoot the Spirit. Cartel Aristocrat will give itself protection so that Olivia doesn't get a counter. With 1 mana up, Alan's going to pass the turn. And we do see Tragic Slip. Question is where it's going to go.
I'm guessing Olivia.
Guessing Olivia, and it is. So now Alan's going to have to make a sacrifice to the Desecration Demon.
Yeah, the time has come for Desecration. As any heavy metal aficionado would be able to tell you.
I think a game-winning draw here. Jeremy has drawn Blood Artist for the turn. If Alan at 3, I think because Alan has to tap something, right? He has to sacrifice a creature to tap the demon. Jeremy can then sacrifice 2 more creatures. That should be 3 damage.
Yep. I think we're down to a mistrigger type of situation as the out.
Right.
And this is game 3. This is a deciding game between Jeremy Crawley's Junk Aristocrats deck and Alan Lee's Jund deck.
It's really interesting. A lot of times I see Blood Artist getting sided out in these removal spells when the other deck is going overloaded on removal. But you see right here, Blood Artist really making the difference. Lifebane Zombie taps the Desecration Demon. Jeremy swings with Cartel Aristocrat. There's a block with Huntmaster. I think Jeremy's fine with letting them trade, and that's 3 damage.
All right.
So 2 games to 1. Junk Aristocrats moves to 4-0 in the hands of Jeremy Crawley.
Nice. Very, very nice. What do you think about the matchup in general? Who do you like, Junk Aristocrats or Jund? Like at the beginning, before you sit down.
Yeah, before I sit down. Typically, I like Jund in the matchup. I feel like Junk Aristocrats is kind of this combo deck where it has a fair number of cards that really want you to sacrifice creatures. Blood Artist, Skurstog High Priest. It has sacrifice outlets. It's Aristocrats. It's Varolzes, and then it has a couple of value creatures. So it kind of needs to have all these pieces to make it work. Whereas I think Jund is